freak show of mutant, twisted, serial-killing juggalos. It's just this way at the Dim Carnival.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dim Carnival. I'm Bill.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Ryan.
And this week, we're talking about some Twiztid... No,
Twiztid.
That's just their name. We're talking about some macabre, cruel, non-ICP, wicked shit. We're talking about Twiztid's Freek Show album, which is, I guess, you can just go ahead and consider it their second album. We probably won't be going track by track through this bad boy like we do with ICP releases. I don't know if we'll get through it all in one episode. We might do two shorter episodes. We'll see where the day takes us. But this album came out on October 31st, 2000, same day as the two Bizarre albums. It was a big day for juggalos. This album was released on Psychopathic Records. And it peaked at number 51 on the Billboard 200. How about that, guys?
Wow.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, they did it. But before we jump into this album, we are aware that this episode will release on Christmas week. So apologies to my fellow tribesmen out there. We didn't really acknowledge the whole Hanukkah situation. But you know what? We hope you had 8 crazy nights. But let's talk about the holidays, guys. Let's talk about, because we talked about Thanksgiving and your favorite Thanksgiving food. I want to know your favorite holiday song, and I want to know your favorite holiday treat. It could be a meal, could be a candy, it could be, I think I know what Ryan's going to say. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about some stuff.
Steve, you want to go first? You have an answer?
I know that your favorite holiday song is "It Is Finished" by Petra.
Yeah, but that's more of an Easter song.
On the hill of the early morning. Oh wait, no, heat of the early morning. On the hill they call the step.
It doesn't matter. In the heat of Hana. So. Good Lord. So, when you said favorite holiday song, what? Sorry?
He's the reason for the season. Your good Lord.
He is the reason for the season. Yeah, it's so discriminatory.
Can't say Christ without Christmas.
You sure can.
Jesus.
You can't say Christ without Christmas.
Jesus Christmas.
So, I guess... because when you said favorite holiday song, and so because I've just been so browbeaten with Christianity, instantly Christmas came to my mind, and then Elvis Blue Christmas instantly came to my mind. So I have to say that apparently that is my favorite holiday / Christmas song, because that was what I thought of first.
That's very good.
And then for holiday treat, again, Christmas, I'm going to have to say ham.
Ham is very good.
Delicious. My mom is going to make a ham for this Christmas.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm gonna renounce my vegetarianism for another night and eat some ham.
Nice.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's gonna be delicious.
what a good breaking a vegetarian meal to eat.
Let me ask you guys: you guys like the honey glazed ham or just a different ham?
So yeah, man, do you like a salted foot, or you like a delicious caramelized, buttery, syrupy?
Well, there's different seasonings for ham. Yeah. You just pop the lid.
Yeah, you have to take those little things from the Swiss Army knife and peel back the can top. Right. And then there's all that weird gelatinous fat that comes out. It's just this giant piece of Spam that they tell you's ham.
Good ham.
I don't like that.
I'm a big fan of ham. I love ham.
I love ham. So good.
It's really good.
All right, Ryan, give me your treat and your tune.
All right. So I've been a pretty cynical person about Christmas most of my life, and so my favorite Christmas song that I like to tell people was always "Fairy Tale of New York."
It's a good song.
Never heard it.
It's by the Pogues.
Yeah,
don't know what that is.
Good song.
It's an Irish band, and the singer doesn't have any teeth.
He's got too many teeth in the wrong places.
Yeah, they're all in his stomach.
It's already my favorite band.
Oh yeah, dude, you should check out Pogues. They're great.
Yeah, you'd like them, Steve.
Okay.
They're like what Dropkick Murphys try to be.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Or maybe like Filthy Thieving Bastards.
Yeah.
So, but lately, these last few years, I have kind of become a Christmas person. I have multiple Christmas decorations. I have been watching Christmas movies this month. I put up, for the last few years, I put lights up on the house. Last year, my girlfriend and I got a tree, one of those pre-lighted, plastic jobs, but still a tree. So it's I'm pretty much in the mood now. And when you asked me that question, the one that I thought of was one that I had been talking about recently, also with my girlfriend, as being one from my childhood that I remember. My mom had a few Christmas tapes that she would bust out around Christmas time that we would listen to in the car. And one of them was Bing Crosby. And so his White Christmas, I've actually heard it a couple times on the radio this year already. And it really makes me feel like being a kid again and, riding in my mom's car at Christmas time, listening to that song. So yeah, White Christmas, Bing Crosby.
Nice. I am a huge fan of the Casey Musgraves Christmas album, which is amazing.
Yes.
But
mention that.
Honestly, I think my favorite Christmas song is the Hanson version of What Christmas Means to Me, because What Christmas Means to Me is a great song. That is not one of the major ones, I think. And we all know that Baby It's Cold Outside doesn't count as a Christmas song. It's just a song for any time it's cold or date rape, I guess. My favorite I thought you were going to say Christmas JoJo's for your favorite treat.
Oh, you didn't give me a chance to answer that.
Oh, sorry.
You
I
called
jumped
it.
in. I barreled right in.
No,
was it?
You called the shot, man. It's
Yeah.
the candy cane JoJo's.
Yeah.
But specifically the chocolate covered one.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Dark chocolate.
What kind of idiot gets them without the chocolate?
With the crushed up candy cane sprinkles on top.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know what you guys are talking about.
So Trader Joe's has fake Oreos. They're called JoJo's. But I mean, they're good. They're real Oreos.
Oh yeah, they're good.
They're great.
Okay, I'm familiar with those. Yeah.
But so for Christmas, only around, I think they start selling them in late November maybe, but it might just be for the month of December. They sell limited edition ones that are the JoJo's covered in chocolate, completely covered in chocolate and dipped in peppermint crumblings.
Well, and they're actually candy cane JoJo's. So
yeah.
They do sell boxed, just a regular box of candy cane flavored, Oreo knockoffs.
Right.
These ones are covered in chocolate, and then they have the shards of real candy cane on them. Amazing.
Yeah. Steve, you should check them out. They're very good.
I don't know.
No.
Steve doesn't like things that taste
good. Not sold on it.
I don't like peppermint that much. I mean, candy canes are okay if I have an upset stomach, but I don't want to eat it and I'm not the biggest fan of chocolate.
I just love the idea of someone eating a candy cane when they have a tummy ache.
Right? Is that
well? It's kind of like mint.
What?
It's like mint. Peppermint.
Yeah.
It's got the word mint in it, so it soothes the stomach.
And
I don't know. I'm fat.
Oh my god, amazing.
The last thing I want to ask you guys about is, have you guys ever heard the Jackson 5 Up on the Housetop Christmas?
I have not, no.
With Up on the Housetop or Up on the Rooftop as
I'm
the Christmas
familiar
song?
with the Jackson 5.
Well,
I'm familiar with the song and the group, but not...
You know the song, right, Steve?
Yeah, of course I know the song.
So I heard...
But you tell it to me first.
I recently heard the Jackson 5 version for the first time, and then I heard it like 6 more times. But it's great because it's like not only like the first good version of this song that's ever existed, but also wonderful because like Michael Jackson just roasts the other Jackson 5 in the middle of the song. And like he's talking about like what Santa should bring to all of his brothers. Have you guys ever heard this version before or not?
Definitely not.
No.
It's just great because it's a Christmas Carol, but Michael Jackson just starts stunting on the other members of the Jackson 5. He says, Jackie's almost 6 feet tall, but no hot shot at basketball. Bring him a basket 3 feet tall. Maybe he'll play like a pro.
Damn.
So already like, boom, fucking roasted, Jackie. Take that. Marlon wears his shoes so thin, he's gone through his socks again. He's always dancing, as you know. And then Marlon says, so bring me some shoes with lots of soul. Get it? It's a pun?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Michael Jackson says, did you read Santa Claus My List? And Jermaine says, all the girls you're waiting to kiss? And someone says, then Jermaine says, Mike, that was only a joke. And he says, someone else says, too late, Jermaine, who's bringing you mistletoe. So they turn it around on him. They're like, oh, you haven't kissed a girl yet. Santa's going to bring you mistletoe so you can kiss all the girls. And I'm sure Michael Jackson kissed plenty of girls after that. But I just like this version of the song where Michael Jackson and the other Jackson 5 take the time out of A Christmas Carol to just fucking dunk on each other.
Thanks, Bill.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was awesome. I couldn't stop thinking the whole time if Michael Jackson was trying to dunk on them because he was still a little kid at the time and they kept taking girls into their hotel room where their dad was so cheap, made them all sleep in the same room, and he was a little kid and they're all fucking chicks in beds next to him, and it ruined him. At least that was from the VH1 movie.
Oh, I'm a little bit surprised that Joe Jackson would let that stuff go on and wouldn't just like put all 5 of them in one bed and like strap them down with belts and stuff and be like, you're not moving until the next show. Because Joe Jackson's a maniac, or he was. He's dead now.
Well, I don't know. I was just saying, like, that was like in the VH1 documentary movie, and I remember being horrified for Michael Jackson. I was like, that's
hey, you should be horrified for Michael Jackson. Everyone should be. He had a crazy ass life that screwed him up forever.
Poor guy. I love Michael Jackson, and I love that ICP loves Michael Jackson.
Yeah, Michael Jackson's the king. All right, let's go ahead and talk about this album, huh?
20 minutes in.
Yep. We're off to a good start.
Didn't like it. All right.
Yep.
Thank
all
you,
right,
everybody.
cool.
I'm Steve.
Here's okay. So this album sounds different from Most Tasteless. It was supposedly produced by Cysticerosis Sound Squad, sure, and possibly Fritz the Cat in some places. And then the Dark Lotus track on the album was also produced by Shaggy 2 Dope, so he got his hand in there.
Well, so Cysticerosis Sound Squad is Jamie Madrox, Monoxide Child, and Fritz the Cat.
Ah, I see. That makes more sense.
Somehow there's a cat involved?
Fritz Van Koski?
Mm-hmm.
Is that it? Fritz, they call him Fritz the Cat.
Nice.
You'll know him on this album by every fucking instrument that's on it. Because they're all played by him. Yeah, man. And boy, does he love to hear himself play a guitar. Well, make a guitar make sounds.
Well, here's what I would say. I feel like the main sound on this album is a piano loop. I feel like there are a lot of songs.
There's a lot of piano.
There's a lot of piano loop and there's a lot of fuzzy guitar, as you said. And I think that as a result, like, this is by far, of all the releases that we've talked about so far, I feel like this is the most, like, rap metal album or rap rock album that we've encountered so far. And, like, most Tasteless didn't sound like this. Most of their subsequent releases don't sound like this album. So I don't know if it was just them, like, being of the moment and, like, very year 2000, like, oh, bands are popular that do rap rock, so let's also do that. I don't know what led to this album sounding like this, but I feel it's a real step down from most Tasteless.
I could see that because there was a lot of, as Violent J would say, rock guitar in some of their music. I could see, like, them to stand out a little bit being different than ICP because, you know, just to, even though it doesn't sound like their other stuff, like, I could see why maybe they decided to try to go that route and just be a little bit more guitar and rap rockish, which is a shame. But I do have to say, just real quick, sorry, I do have to say, I really didn't like this album back in the day, and I tried to, and there were songs off of it I thought were okay. I actually liked the music. I was way more tolerant. Maybe it's just because I'm older now, but I was way more tolerant and found myself enjoying some songs off this album, where I also felt there was The Man's Myth and then Mutant X was like, it was kind of like a double album almost. They're just both albums coming out at the same time, if I'm not mistaken. And I think the Mutant X one had a lot more songs that they had bands playing. And I feel like there was a song or two on this that kind of reminded me that something that ended up being on Mutant X. Not good. I'm just saying.
Here's what I will say as an overview of this album. It has this album. I agree with you, Steve. I was also a lot more tolerant of the album this time around because I don't have, before this re-listen, I didn't have fond memories of this album past the first 5 tracks. But I felt like it was more, I was more open to it this time. I see a lot of positives in the album. Overall, I think that it's hampered by a couple things. One, the choice that they went with of making the entire album sound like this, and paired with that, there are 18 fucking tracks in this album, guys.
There are 18
so many tracks.
goddamn songs in this album.
And, like, if this album had 10 songs on it, it'd probably be pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, like, once it gets to a certain point, like, it's all the same. And, like, only when, like, ICP or another guest pops up on the album are you like, oh, something's different. Now I can pay attention. Like, it's way too much of the same thing, this album.
Yeah.
And the other thing I will say that this album has going for it is that Twiztid's inexplicable cover of The Doors' People Are Strange might be the worst song I've ever heard. When I first bought the album, I could not believe what I was hearing when I got to that track.
Same.
I hated it so much. And I was like, maybe it's not as bad as I remember. Nope, worse. It is, in fact, worse than I remember. It is the most ill-advised cover I've ever seen. It is one of the worst songs. They sing worse than Shaggy 2 Dope on this song. It's bad. Those are the best takes they got, and they put them on the album. And they're covering a Doors song in the middle of this 18-track fucking album.
Wow.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and put this out on Front Street on my Insane Clown Posse podcast. I really like The Doors. I know a lot of people really hate The Doors. I really like The Doors. And I had every Doors album. I may still have every Doors album. I know basically every Doors song. I feel like People Are Strange is one of the worst Doors songs, and they did not do it justice.
Holy crap, dude. I love that you said that. I mean, if I could just read you the notes I actually wrote, because I have notes for every single song. No, I was because when I was listening to it, I had heard some songs that were way better than I remembered them, so I was super stoked on this album, and I was trying to still be like hyped on it, and then I got to People Are Strange, and I still had that high, and I was like, I want to really like not shit on this album. So I wrote this, and this still almost sounds positive, but I wrote, I love the Doors, so I appreciate the attempt. It would have been cool if they added a few rhymes to it. Otherwise, this showcases a group of music makers that we don't know. It's just like a band, like in a high school talent show, being like, check us out play People Are Strange. The vocals don't matter. Just watch the band.
Yeah.
That was what I was thinking when I heard this. I wanted this song to be awesome. I wanted this song to be good. I did not like it back in the day, just like you. And I was really upset. Even though I was trying to be really cool about it, like, I was just like, they're good rappers. Why wouldn't they? And they're artists. Why wouldn't they try to do something with this song? If you're gonna be ballsy enough to cover a song that either people of a band that either people absolutely love, like apparently Bill and I are in the same boat because I love the Doors, or people hate them, and I never understand why people hate them. Like, I could see people being like, they're all right, but, like, people hate them. I don't get that. But anyways, like, I just feel like they could have done so much with it if they thought about it. And it's just so boring. That's the worst part about it, is it's just boring. Not even that it's bad and they sing out of tune. It's just boring.
Well, here's a possibility. It is possible that Jamie Madrox and Monoxide Child are playing the instruments on this album, on this song, on this particular track. Like, it's possible that they pulled a Beastie Boys and they learned this track, and they were like, "Oh, let's play it. Let's play this song. Oh, this is the song we know how to play. Oh, man, people are gonna love it." If that is not the explanation, there is no explanation. Because, like you said, like, even when ICP has like a guitar solo in their song, like, you know that that's like Legs Diamond or like Mike P. Like, they credit them, they shout them out, or like, or it really adds, or someone's really shredding, or, you know, something like that. Like, not even like, even the song that features Slash doesn't have like a solo on that song. He just plays the guitar. and it's not a cover, it's just him playing guitar on a track that ICP wrote. That's it. So, I don't know. I don't have any explanation for this bad song.
Oh, God.
So I just want to say that I completely agree with everything that you guys have said. So you guys are nailing it. I don't even need to add any more to that.
Can we know how you feel about the Doors?
I'm not really into the Doors.
Do you hate them?
I wouldn't say that I hate them. Like, if I was in a bar and the Doors came on, I wouldn't like leave. But if the Doors came on the radio, I might change the channel.
Well, the good news is that once People Are Strange comes on, the Twiztid album, and you either suffer through it or skip it, good news, still 10 more songs to go. It's not even the halfway point of the album.
All right, so wait, I want to go back a little bit on some things that you guys said. Okay, so the rock component of this album, I have a theory that I'd like to propose.
Oh, please.
So as we know, Twiztid is very close with ICP at this time. They were even having discussions with the band about coordinating the release of these albums and to be a kind of connected idea. So there's I don't know that there's any way for us to know how much they intended for there to actually be some kind of connection or whatever between when they were thinking about how they're going to produce this album. So what I'm trying to say is I don't know how much ICP may or may not have influenced the production of this album, but we got an email from Rob, homie Rob, who let me know there was something that we left out on the song "Let's Go All the Way." There is a band that performs the music on that song called Perpetual Hype Engine. Are you familiar with this band?
No, but I know that is the name of the band.
Okay. So this is a band that ICP, I guess, tried to sign, like, as their, like, a rock band. And they never released an album. This is all according to Rob. Never released an album. They never really did anything, but you can find them on YouTube. And so I did look them up on YouTube. I didn't listen to them. But right after that, he, I guess, was talking more and more about wanting to have a rock band of his own, which eventually led to them creating Zug Island.
Right.
So I feel like it's possible, there's a possible explanation that during Let's Go All the Way, they were already talking about wanting to have more rock in their music and that they were going to try to sign this band. And so I think that may have influenced them to kind of make this decision to include more of that on this album if they were going to have more of that type of sound, or maybe that Twiztid would have a closer sound to another artist that was on the same label. I don't know if that's a good idea. But to make more of like psychopathic music sound more together rather than having this signing a rock band to the label and being like, why do you have a rock band and two rappers, to kind of try to bridge it together maybe.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it makes as much sense as anything else. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, shortly after this, you got Zug Island coming into the fold, and it tracks. It's just, if that is the case, it's interesting that ICP would have that heavy a thumb on the scale at this point in Twiztid's career. But I mean, maybe that's like why, Twiztid finally threw off the yoke of their oppressor and seized the means of production in recent years.
Well, I know I said influence, and I didn't mean to make it sound like they were trying to tell them how to make their record.
Right.
Just that it could have been something that they talked about,
Sure.
When they were talking about these albums going all together or whatever.
Going all the way.
But I completely agree with you that the guitar is used way too much, and it's really unfortunate because some of the songs that I like have a really heavy upfront guitar on it. And if they had used it on those tracks and not on the other ones that suck, then it would be fine. But but they use it on so many songs that I just get so sick of hearing it. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. I think having listened to other Twiztid albums a bunch, I find that I feel like they kind of do this in a bunch of albums. Maybe not as heavy, for sure. There's way more rap style songs, but then they will have songs in albums that still do that. And I wonder if it was just, I don't know how much ICP has, influence on each album on how they make them, but, I feel like it's something they like themselves,
Yeah,
I guess I would need to listen to something that's not on Psychopathic. I haven't listened to anything that's not on Psychopathic, and if it still has, it's actually still not even fair because they could have grown out a guitar because it's a different era. But anyways,
well, now as we're talking through it, like this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that Most Tasteless was, the end of their House of Crazies sound. Like they were still very much tied to House of Crazies. It was supposed to be House of Crazies album. And so that's why it's way more in just like hardcore horrorcore rap. And I think that this album is probably the first. I think that this album was their first attempt at like making their own sound, like making the Twiztid sound. 'Cause like that rock element definitely persists. It just doesn't sound like this so much anymore, in future releases. So I think that it's entirely possible that like this is them trying to find what would eventually become the Twiztid sound, the trademark Twiztid sound. And I think that it just like is growing pains. Like, you can call it sophomore slump, or you can call it just like weirdness of a debut album, like finding their footing. But it's basically just like, here's what we want to sound like, but they don't quite have the chops or the productorial know-how to really do it yet. Yeah.
they rode out on that one.
Yeah.
You knocked it out of the park, buddy. That was a great.
You did it correct.
You are correct, sir.
Yeah, that sounds great, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, so now that we've cracked
So-
that nut,
So can I read
yeah.
my first note on the intro?
please do.
No, Lee didn't want me wanted to.
No, I was going to start talking about the album.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, no, I have one note for the intro. And it's been actually a little while since I've actually listened to it, so I don't even remember how much it sounds. I'm mixing the Twiztid with what was happening in that. But for my note, what's important is they say they're deplorables. And so I wrote in my notes the first quote-unquote deplorables, and then I wrote, I wonder what they think of Trump.
I don't think they like him very much.
I'm sure they don't, and
I
am going to die on that hill.
Yeah.
I mean, the odds are that they don't.
Yeah. It was just funny because they just that word stood out to me because they say we're deplorables or something to that effect, and I was just like, oh my god, I've never heard of anyone referred to as deplorables until Hillary said it about Trump people, and then they loved it.
Maybe Hillary listens to Twiztid.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, when they were hanging out in the Church of Satan.
Yeah, I will say this. I know there are a lot of Twiztid fans who do like Trump, and a lot of ICP fans who do like Trump.
Of course, I would believe that.
But I think that the actual artists themselves are not fans. I know this for a fact because I was recently, when we started talking about Twiztid on the podcast, and I went to see what they're up to now, and I was going through their Instagram. There was a lot of, I would just, click on any random photo, and there would be, dudes be like, MAGA! I love Twiztid, make America great again.
Oh.
Or maybe they just want Twiztid to make America great again. I mean, they're probably the right guys for the job.
I don't know. I saw something a little bit back, just a couple months back, of Jamie Madrox doing some type of charity thing or not charity, but just some kind of awareness and outreach for opioid addictions in Detroit.
That's cool.
And I thought that was badass. And and it was a really cool picture. I just remember I don't remember. It was on Twitter. I saw, obviously. It was probably FagoNet sent it out. And he was just standing with his hands behind his back and some kind of jumpsuit, but he didn't have his face paint on. He had a big old smile, and it was just all, this neat headline about, helping with opioid addiction.
Nice.
And I was really proud of that. I was like, he's a rapper I like, that's white, and uses the N-word, so I hate that, and I don't know if I should like him, but then that's really cool what he's doing right there. I'm conflicted.
Yeah, did you want to talk about that at all? I know you had a kind of a bummer experience with Twiztid recently in the past couple days, but if you don't want to talk about it, we can just...
No, I don't mind if you guys are down.
Yeah, please.
I think it's kind of important.
I think so too.
So, my roommate, and we're huge buddies, and we share lots of music with each other. He doesn't like ICP. He doesn't like Twiztid. He thinks they're cool. He knows everything about them because I can't not talk about stupid shit, especially when we're recording this stuff. I'm just he was like, oh, how'd it go? And I'm like, we talked about, and then for 20 minutes, the poor bastard has to listen to all these things that I think are hilarious and he's not laughing at, but I just still make him listen. So he knows all this stuff, and I've been very selective over the years of the stuff I show him, if we're having a fun, especially on Fridays after work, we like to open up the house and turn up the radio really loud and blast rock and roll music, and every once in a while I'll get the nerve up and I'd put an ICP song on, but I had to pick a really good one, and a lot of times I actually ended up picking a Twiztid song instead because I still kind of felt it's kind of ICP, and I'd pick a pot smoking song. So off of the Green Book, I always did the one Hydro, I think is the name of the song, and it has Bone Thugs on it, and it's just such a great pot smoking song. So I would show him that, and he really liked that song. And then so fast forward to now, I'm doing this assignment, and I wanted to remember some of the songs. So I was like, oh, Bags, that's a pot smoking song. He likes Twiztid, Bone Thugs, Twiztid. So I'm showing him the song, and it's actually a really cool song, especially with so much trash in between the first good 5 songs and then trash and then Bags. And so I'm like, this is actually a cool song right here. And then he drops the N-word, and I forgot. And and it was just kind of weird all of a sudden. I was like, oh yeah, Twiztid sometimes uses the N-word, and yeah, it's weird because they're white. And so we started having a conversation about it, and I wanted to get his feel on how he felt, because I know he knows like ICP and the stories of the bands. And his ultimate thing was like, I was like, this is 1999, and so it's not. 2018, we definitely know. And he was all, it's never been cool. Like, that's never been cool. He's like, they're just being assholes. And I never even thought of it like that, because, we can't say, if you call them racist, which white guys saying the N-word's racist, I don't care what you think. But in the scheme of ICP, no, they kill racists. Mm-hmm. So you're like, so here's these white guys who are along with ICP that want to kill racists, but they're using the N-word. It's okay. And so him just saying, nah, they're being assholes, even if they're they don't like white supremacists, then that just makes them assholes. Mm. And I thought that was kind of brilliant. I was like, wow, I didn't think of it like that. And yeah, fuck those guys. And it kind of sucked, because then I was just it's harder for me to like what I even like. And then we even kind of said that, and we kind of talked about that after that too. Just now it's not going to be as cool listening to Hydro. Man, if we had a lot of people that listen to our podcast, that'd be very controversial, what I just said. Thank God we only have a few fans.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be an issue.
Well, the listeners who talk to us seem to be pretty level-headed folks. So, yeah. We got to be honest about all this stuff. We've talked about it many, many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, I started listening to, since we're on the topic of talking about this specific topic, I started listening to today the other podcast I mentioned last week, Thinking Outside the Box Set. Mm-hmm. And I just listened to the intro, basically, where they're talking about what their feelings are on ICP, a little bit of history or background of how they came together. And then they start talking about Carnival of Carnage. And it was really interesting, because it is they're just a few steps outside of us, they didn't really, several steps. They never listened to the band. But it's really interesting I felt there was a lot of similarities in their reaction and their difficulties with enjoying certain elements of it, but having a lot of it be deeply problematic.
Yeah.
And so that's what they've always been, and they're, I assume, going to continue to be.
I think the one good thing about the our struggle with the more unsavory and earlier stuff is that it's definitely not exclusive to ICP. It's not just a problem that they have. Going back and listening to any rap music from the 90s or before is yeesh, it's not exclusive to ICP, I feel.
Yeah, no.
No, absolutely, I agree.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I follow a woman on Twitter that I've followed for a lot of years, and I think she's amazing. And it's a feminist, Jones, and she was actually just talking about and had links to some articles she wrote about misogyny and late 80s and early 90s rap that we all love, and then listen back to and be like, oh my God, why did we like that?
Yep. We had speculated on an earlier show about we don't know Twiztid's life story. We don't know anything about where they grew up or who they grew up with, and I had theorized that through their upbringing and through their years of being in House of Crazies with ROC, that somewhere along the way someone may have given them a pass. And I think that that's probably still the most likely explanation. But I think that your roommate is right, Steve. At some point, it becomes willful, and at a certain point, you're just being an asshole.
Yeah.
Especially if I may be misremembering this, but I think they stopped doing it or stopped doing it as much for a while on psychopathic releases.
Yeah, and I don't remember any N-word drops on the Green Book or Mutant X or the whatever I can't remember the name of the other one, but History something or whatever. Myth. I don't remember the N-word dropped on any of those albums. I think
they stopped doing it for a while, and then I think they may have started up again once they left Psychopathic. That could be completely erroneous on my part. But I
haven't heard their new music to know.
But I mean, maybe that's one of the reasons. Maybe that's one of the things that Violent J had a hand in, or maybe that's something that they really felt strongly about. But I'm just glad that it goes away for at least a little while on upcoming releases that we may or may not pay attention to. But well, I think that the album starts really strong, as I think we all agree, but maybe we don't. But I will say this: I really like We Don't Die, and I think that Fall Apart is probably my favorite Twiztid song.
Yeah, it's a great song.
I really like Fall Apart, yeah.
Fall Apart is the best possible use of I think Fall Apart is the one song on the album where all of the things that they're trying to do actually comes together and works. The piano loop is really cool. The guitar is used exactly the right amount. And it starts off so strong, and the lyrics are so good, and the premise is extremely strong. But just I swallow razor blades and spit up blood, pulled out my heart and showed it to my love. That. Oh my God. That song gets me really hype every time I hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
Good comment.
Yeah, definitely agree.
I was, so I started the album and I was like, okay, I kind of felt similarly to what you were talking about before, Bill, where I was like, all right, I see what I feel like they're trying to fill it out, right? Figure out what their sound is. But they, to me, really embrace that same thing that we were talking about last week on Bizarre. This really embracing the juggalo culture, right? Understanding that their relationship with the juggalos is really important.
Mm-hmm.
And this idea of family, right, is starting to, they actually say that in the intro that it's right, I don't know if they actually say it, but in the intro is when we think of this the concept of the family, and that people that are outcasts and people who are different.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was cool that they're kind of carrying that same message. But then on Mutant X, I was listening to it and I was like, oh, this is good. Okay, I like the chorus. This is interesting. And then 2/3 of the way through the song, and it's only a 3-minute song. So just a couple minutes in, I was finding it harder and harder to listen to.
Right.
And there's this guitar feedback loop thing that's going on in the background, or I don't know what it is, some distortion, feedback that just makes it really difficult to listen to.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about Mutant X. I also find it extremely hard to listen to, and it's so skippable. And I think it's maybe the weakest non-intro opening track on a Psychopathic Records release ever.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think it's a fine song. It's just actually difficult to listen to. Whatever sound that is bothering me. If it wasn't there, I think I'd be all right.
But I don't ever really remember anything about Mutant X, and I just I know We Don't Die and Fall Apart so well because they're both really bangers and very strong. But
well, and then this is a thing that's interesting. So I never listened to this album before.
Mm-hmm.
But when we first, I don't remember, I should have looked it up what episode, when we first talk about Twiztid, the first track that they appear on, I said that I felt like, I believe it was on an episode, I said I felt like they represent, they're meant to represent for us, the fans, the listeners, what the model juggalo is.
Mm.
And so that's the chorus of the first track on Mutant X is watch them mutate into twisted serial killer juggalos.
Yeah.
So I thought that was rad.
Yeah, I love that too. That
part is good.
out.
You're right.
Yeah, that really stood out when I was listening to it, and it kept boggling my mind because when I wasn't listening to it, my brain was trying to repeat the words. I kept using the wrong words in the very beginning, where it's like watch us change and mutate into a freak show, twisted juggalo, something like that. But I couldn't. I kept making it watch us as we change. I was like, no, that's too many words. It doesn't work. It was just a funny product. So it made it stand out in my mind a lot more. Yeah, I definitely like this song way more than I did in the past, and I definitely understand what you guys are saying about what the unlistenable ability part of it, the song is, or listenability part of it is, and I almost sometimes kind of think even though I like that chorus, that's some fucking nasally ass singing right there. I feel like they're just singing straight through their nose. And I know that's probably got a lot to do with the
It's a pallbearer.
Undertaker. Yeah, no. So that makes it hard to listen to after a while for me. So even though I thought the chorus was pretty badass, I also was I'm sick of this chorus. But yeah. But so I like that song a little bit more. We Don't Die, great song, and then I'm with you on Fall Apart, Bill. That song was great.
It's so good.
Yeah. It's just I forgot how much I really, really love that song.
I feel it builds up to Fall Apart, and it's a nice reward, Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. I mean, it's a nice little arc. I feel like the first 4 or 5 tracks are really strong, and then it just hits a wall, and then there's some ICP tracks, and then it's just way too long. But I go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, so there's a skit at the end of Fall Apart.
There is.
Which is a voice machine message. And I don't know if because at the end in the secret track or whatever, they play a series of recordings of fans that are talking about, leaving messages how much they like the band.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wonder if that's the same thing. Now I'm just thinking of that. But it's a guy that's telling the story of the first time that he ever got to lick a woman's butthole.
Right.
And he was really advocating for it. I guess he really enjoyed it.
It's pretty fucking fresh.
I mean, I did fuck her, but I had done that before. That part wasn't new. It was good, but it wasn't new. And I feel like that kind of is supposed to be a transition into the next song, I believe.
Right.
But what I really feel like it is closing the first chapter of the album, kind of like you said. And so yeah, it goes into a different place from here, I feel like.
Well, then that will do it for this week. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We apologize if we're going way too hard on Twiztid here for your liking, but it's our show.
Well, and I know that Jeremy emailed us about this, and so I want to give props to Jeremy because I know he loves this album. So Jeremy, we're gonna say some nice things, I promise. It's not all frowns.
I think I already did my nice things.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
No, I said some really awesome stuff right now.
Hell yeah, you did. But I mean, there's other songs that you liked, right? We're going to talk about other things we liked on the album.
Yeah, I got to talk about the last song.
Yeah. All right. So we will leave it here for now. We hope you had wonderful holidays and continue to have them. And we love you. We thank you for listening. It's good to be back and talking to everyone again. And until next week, I'm Bill.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Ryan.
And eat some ham because it's pretty fucking fresh.